What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and happy Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage History Month. Is it both? It's both. Uh, Hopefully, it was worth the wait because Tubi's got a movie for you to celebrate the occasion on Tubi. So this is how much we value you as a community. And if you're blind, Tubi has not provided audio description. So this is actually being billed as a Tubi original, not just like some random acquisition. They're actually sort of touting this as something that they made or commissioned specifically for Tubi, instead of the many films like this that just sort of get downstreamed into Tubi. So I watched this so that you don't have to. Click like and subscribe, and let's talk about Worth the Wait. Is it? No. Definitely not for blind and low vision audience. Honestly, I don't really know about sighted people. Maybe it is for you. Maybe it's a little bit more enjoyable. I found this a bitch to get through. This was, and not even because it's like painstakingly bad, but because it doesn't have audio description, and it's actually essentially an anthology rom-com with like 4 different stories that have really no intersecting purpose together that we're watching. It's being billed as a film for Lana Condor and Ross Butler, which it's really not. They're just one of the 4 stories that we spend time with. Their story is sort of about like living like romance in a social media age and sort of missed connections and I don't know, time zones, and it's like affable and cute and probably fine if it had been on a film on its own. But we also have like this younger couple. There's this promposal that goes wrong. Dude falls off of a roof. Even I picked up on that out of I think they actually mentioned it in the dialogue. Trying to ask his girlfriend to prom, but there's a problem because this girl doesn't her uncle is super strict and doesn't know that she's dating anybody. And the uncle, played by Kang from the Fast and Furious movies, just does not approve. Honestly, he's kind of a nerd, kind of a little doofusy. Seems very well-meaning though. But he does kind of seem like the kind of person that you would immediately just go, no, you've got to be able to do better than this. But also he seems like the kind of guy that if you just get to know him, he's probably like going to code and launch the next greatest social media platform, and you just don't know it, So, sometimes don't judge a book by its cover, I would say, is maybe the plot line with that. There's a couple that, I don't know, is fighting on set. I think Elodie Young was part of that. She was Elektra in Daredevil. So, I think she's on The Cleaning Lady. Isn't that where she's in? I don't watch that show now. I'm sorry. I think that's Elodie Young's show. Did it get canceled? Is it still happening? Are we still cleaning ladies? So she's in this story about like, it doesn't really work. I probably had the hardest time following her thing. And the 4th couple had to do with there was like a loss of there was like a miscarriage, and a couple that was dealing with that, and the fact that they had already sort of started to plan and I don't know, like get like a baby room and stuff, and now they have to disassemble. And I don't know, I always think it's very dramatic, and I don't want to get into people's personal relationships, but when they like miscarry and they're like, well, we have to take apart the baby room, and it's like, or you could try again. That's the thing. Or you could adopt. I mean, there's so many other options. But I guess it's very dramatic to show them, going through the weight of it. I think you can do both. I think you could creatively navigate. But this film, has a hard time balancing four stories and jumping between them when they don't really mean anything. Sometimes we get films like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants where the characters are connected and they're all like these different stories, but there's a reason why we're telling them, and it's because all of those lead girls are connected together. Here, that doesn't feel like it at all. It's just like we're in Seattle and we're going to tell some stories about Asian Americans in America and what it's like. One of the things that the film does well is it's not using the Asian American cast as sort of like a gimmick. It just happens to be an Asian American cast. This isn't a film that relishes in, the constant reminder of culture. It's not a film that constantly reminds you of like tradition or I don't know, overused tropes in terms of having Asian American characters on screen and representation and those kind of things. It just kind of has a cast. Every once in a while, it'll just kind of casually say something, like as a passing reference to maybe a little bit of a tropey thing that when we usually have Asian Americans on screen, but not really. It just kind of feels like we took a rom-com and cast it appropriately. And there really aren't enough of these. I mean, we have plenty of rom-coms with African American casts. We have, plenty of Latino cast. We don't do this enough with Asian American Pacific Islander casts. We just leave them alone. And then the one time we do, we put it on Tubi. And I think the fact that Lana Condor and Ross Butler are the stars of this kind of highlight how really little talent we have for an AAPI rom-com. The kind of people who could feel like that they would step into this. Although, arguably, I think if you're willing to fund a movie, we do have people like Stephen Yeun out there. We have Henry Goulding. We have other actors who wouldn't do a Tubi movie. So, Michelle Yeoh. I mean, like, so many other, Stephanie Shu. There are people who could easily do this movie, but not on a budget, but who's going to pay them. And the sad thing is, audiences showed with the massive box office for Crazy Rich Asians that there is space for this. I guess Tubi saw that, even though that was years ago, and then started gestating this project. But we haven't really made good on that promise to make more films like Crazy Rich Asians. And we make, it's really easy to put Asian American Pacific Islander into, films like, I don't know, Moana, where it's like, oh, we're on an island, so what do we need? Pacific Islanders. Or Shang-Chi, because we need the representation here because he's the Asian American Marvel character. That's not really creating space. That's not really telling a story. That's, using people specifically. I mean, if we did that with Black actors, every time we just needed them, hey guys, we're doing The Color Purple again, of course we need you. Oh, we're doing another movie where we need a whole bunch of people to play slaves, or we need a whole bunch of people to, we don't want to do basics. We don't want to do typical stories that just like The Best Man or anything like that. We don't want to shoot those movies. We just want to keep you playing, athletes and I don't know, just whatever stereotypical crap we think you can play. Just like with Asian Americans, it's like, we need you in Kung Fu movies. There's a Karate Kid movie coming out. Look, Jackie Chan's in it. Of course he is. So there's something to be said for what Worth the Wait could be and what it should be and why we need films like this. But man, it was really hard to follow being on Tubi, and representation matters, but damn it, nobody's gonna watch this. Like, a couple people on Tubi are gonna watch this. I don't even have the option of skipping commercials. So, and the commercials are they're so interruptive to the actual like enjoyment style of the thing. I would think that Tubi with their original, I know that they love to break it up with commercial breaks, but I think Tubi with the original film, maybe they could have highlighted it a little bit differently by doing a little bit what some of the others do when they have a big project that they don't want interrupted, where they sort of lead in, where you have like, I don't know, like a minute or 2 or 3 of commercials at the beginning, and then you watch the movie. And it's like, I can't skip these commercials, but eventually the movie will start. And once it does, I've seen all of the commercials for the entirety of the movie. And then that would have made it felt more like this is a Tubi original and we're trying to elevate it to some level, instead of, nope, we're just going to throw random commercial breaks at you. And yeah, we've got a couple that's, dealing with a miscarriage, but here's a commercial for Tide. Here's a commercial for Ozempic. I don't know. Like, it's just feels just so random. And that's Tubi's model. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can change. You're trapped in ads. So, I don't know. It's definitely unwatchable due to lack of audio description for blind and low vision viewers, because good luck. It was a mess trying to follow this film. It like requires the utmost attention at all times. I didn't, especially, at least I'm alerting you to the fact that it is, I truly thought I read it at face value as being like a rom-com for Ross Butler and Lana Condor. So when other things started happening, I was like, who are these people? What's going on? So how do they know Ross Butler and Lana Condor? What is happening here? I was lost the whole fucking movie, because the movie's so heavily being marketed as one thing. They've actually got Ross and Lana doing press, but they don't really have the other cast doing press. So it's just, the whole thing is just really, it's feels like thanks for the effort, but I just think Asian American Pacific Islanders deserve better than this. There's a certain amount of representation here that is very promising, in exactly what I said. It's like, they're just here, finally they get to be in a movie where they're just living in Seattle, and they don't constantly go and make Asian dishes or have overbearing grandmothers that are, I don't know, yelling at them all the time and don't know English, and are constantly disapproving of everything that they do. There are no tropes that we're falling into here. It doesn't embrace that structure, and you can have both. But I think this is probably a group that really already has too many films that already are steeped in culture, that they don't get to have a film that just is them. Shortcomings was really great for sort of tapping into we have an Asian American cast, and we're just going to tell a story that happens to feature Asian Americans, and not really, it could be interchangeably anybody in this film. And, it shows that everybody has sort of stories that reach across to, they're universal, and anybody can enjoy them. So there's nothing about Worth the Wait that is inherently bad. It's just really hard to follow. It's probably one of the better Tubi movies. But yeah, I can't really give it a firm grade. I appreciate what it's trying to do and what it's trying to put out there into the world. But at the same time, there's got to be a better way to do this. And also, why aren't the other studios trying to do this? Like, there were more books in that Crazy Rich Asians series. That movie made a ton of money. What happened to the sequels? Like, why didn't we make more? I swear we greenlit a sequel to Crazy Rich Asians. So, and even that is somewhat steeped in culture. So, yeah, as is like Minari and some of the other films that we've had. yeah, unwatchable due to lack of audio description. Sorry. It's weird that Tubi, like, Tubi uses audio description. They have the ability to have it. It's sad that for one of the few originals that they ever produce, where they're like, this is a Tubi original, quote unquote, that they didn't bother to produce audio description to make it feel more special. There's a way to make this feel like more special. I mean, they're trying to land it in the month, the right month. But there are things that they could have done to sort of highlight this and elevate it more, to be like, no, this is the Tubi original. This is the film we've all been waiting for. Because that's what it's about, is waiting. Anyway, and whether or not it's worth it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll see you guys on the other side.